Why do you wax the underside? Is it because you can see the saturation? That's exactly it. And we'll show you the difference. For our wraps that have darker patterns like this one, it's much easier for us to see the saturation when the underside is facing upwards, as you can see here. You honestly can't really see a difference in the left one, whereas the one on the right, you can totally see it's been saturated with beeswax. Another reason is that when the lighter side is facing up, we're able to see any imperfections on the wraps that might occur during production, and we're able to remove it before they dry. When we're waxing a darker fabric before a lighter one, a few threads can linger in the wax pot, and it's just easier for us to spot these when the lighter side is facing up.
We had a power outage on Friday and had to hurry to wax as much as possible by phone light before everything cooled and hardened. It's important for us to use as much wax mixture as possible each day, otherwise it hardens into a large block that takes hours to remelt in this particular piece of equipment. Each day, we start by melting down all of the ingredients in our industrial melter instead. Since it's quite hot, it works much faster. The liquid mixture here is then transferred into the chafing dish, which is a gentler heat, just enough to keep everything melted while still keeping our staff safe, who are interacting with this vessel frequently during the waxing process. That is a great question, and there are two reasons why we don't pour any unused wax mixture back into the melter. One is that the jojoba oil is added in the second phase, as it tends to be too hot for it in the industrial melter, so we don't want to add that back in. Second, and much more importantly, we try to limit the movement of any melted wax as much as possible in order to ensure the safety of our staff. So while you're absolutely right, and this is a great idea, the steam, weight, and shape of this basin make it just too risky. How does the wax mixture fully cover the material if you layer it like that when you apply? We're able to layer the fabric because the liquid beeswax mixture saturates the top and works its way down through the layers below, ensuring an even coating for each wrap. It's important to not have too much or too little mixture on each wrap, so layering helps us to have more control and make sure we get it just right. As you can see here, each wrap is completely saturated and evenly coated. Why are we heat gunning our wraps? Let me explain. Beeswax can develop something called bloom, which is the frost-like appearance from oils rising to the surface when it's cold. Sometimes when it gets chilly out, our wraps bloom as well. Check out the mouths of these sharks to see what I'm talking about. While it doesn't affect the function at all and is purely aesthetic, we want our wraps arriving to you looking their absolute best. So leaving them in the sun or applying a slight heat will eliminate the bloom and bring them right back to normal.
Did you know that we have slightly different packaging for retailers? There are two main reasons for this. The first reason is that our retail packaging is designed to be displayed upright or hanging. It gives our retailers more options with visual merchandising and helps keep our malleable wraps looking sharp on the shelves. The second is that we like including more information on retail packaging about using and caring for your beeswax wraps. This is information you'd have easy access to when shopping directly from us online, but it may not be as readily available to you when purchased in store. Both our e-commerce and retail packaging are made with recycled craft paper. So in short, our retail packaging is sturdy and detailed, whereas our e-commerce packaging is far more streamlined. Do you prefer one over the other? Did you know one way we work to reduce textile waste is by using our offcuts? Our itty bitty bundle was born out of the small pieces left over that didn't quite become our small beeswax wraps. We reimagined what these extra small wraps could be used for and created the itty bitty bundle. These wraps are the perfect size for covering cucumber ends and other small pieces. If you can believe it, when Amy first started Goldilocks in 2017, it was in her second bedroom and the process was a little messier and a whole lot slower. 5 years in and we've mastered our craft, gotten more efficient, and are much better at managing the mess that beeswax creates. We're so humbled that in 2021, we became a part of over 10,000 households and diverted 7.6 million square feet of plastic wrap from entering landfills and waterways. We couldn't have done it without you, so thank you.
We can absolutely do 3 at a time. The number of wraps that we wax at once has a couple of factors. One is that it varies by person, as well as station, and the size of the wraps themselves. Larges average about 3 to 5 at a time, while mediums are more like 6 to 8, and smalls we can get up to 8 to 10 at one time. One of the stations happens to have a little bit more space to hang the wraps to dry, which is probably the biggest factor. We could likely wax more at once on the hot plate, but would need to figure out some extra space to hang the wraps to dry. Let us know if you have any ideas. We always love hearing your thoughts.
Why do you stack them on top of each other during the waxing process? This is a great question. The fabric is overlapped during our waxing process because the beeswax mixture is able to fully saturate each piece of fabric to fully coat them from top to bottom regardless if they're overlapped, making this process more efficient and effective than waxing each wrap individually.
That's a great question. We hand cut our fabric with pinking shears as the scalloped edges work to reduce fraying. We then follow this by waxing the cotton, which further seals the edges of the beeswax wraps to prevent any possible fraying from occurring. That's a great question, and the answer is simple. When we make the first fold perfectly down the center, the next fold pulls one of the edges, resulting in an untidy line, as you can see here. By allowing for a bit of room in the first fold, the second fold achieves a much cleaner line and looks a lot tidier. We love answering your questions, so let us know if you have any more.